On this week's show, how to use the equity in your home to grow a property portfolio.
In the news, is it possible to reap the rewards of property without taking any risks?
And we're going to be answering all your property-related questions. Welcome to the Property Investors Podcast. Thanks so much for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe so you never miss an upload. You can catch us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Enjoy this week's show and don't forget to share it with all your friends. Hi, I'm Russell Leeds.
I'm Alistair Cunningham.
And welcome to this week's Property Investors Podcast. We've got a fantastic show coming up.
I think we absolutely have.
We're going to be talking about how you can use your current home to buy lots of other properties and grow your portfolio, which is always very, very exciting.
It's a question that comes up lots at crash courses in particular. People are always saying, I've got equity in the house, how can we release that and how can we you put that to good use?
Exactly. Well, a lot of the time, it's funny, when we, at the deal finding extravaganza, and we talk about how much money people have got and how they can be creative, a lot of people forget that they've got money in their own home that they could put to good use. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. Anyway, have you had a good week?
Yes, we have had a very busy week again. So what did it consist of? It feels like ages ago, but it was actually only a few days ago. It's just been very busy. But Thursday I was out looking at new crash course venues, so we're looking for a bigger venue.
Nice.
As the crash course ever grows every week, every month, we need to find bigger and bigger venues and more nicer venues. So been out looking at them. We found quite a few nice venues in central London.
Beautiful.
Very good. And then what happened on Monday?
On Monday?
Yeah.
On Monday we went to meet the Wolf.
The Wolf. And he done the da-dum, da-dum. And it was so awkward, wasn't it?
It was awkward, actually. What is it,
really
though?
awkward.
It's not, but
it's
I can't think of the tune. That's it.
Yeah.
Do you know that that's not actually true?
Yeah.
Jordan broke the news to us that
one of the first things he said on stage when he come on stage was, it was funny watching us all do that. But he said it was a ritual Matthew McConaughey had, who played the broker, wasn't it? His mentor.
Yeah.
And he does that apparently before all filming.
To sort of settle himself down. He was doing it off set and the director went, we need this in the movie.
That is brilliant. We need that in the movie. But he's such an interesting character. Now, there's no denying what he done was wrong, but he's definitely sort of seen the light and sorted himself out.
Yeah.
He now promotes very ethical selling, and he's a very, very nice guy. And do you know what I loved about him? Is he's obviously a celebrity. He's obviously like made lots and lots of money, and he's very famous throughout the world. But he would come and sit and chat with us like we are sat here now, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Like, when it was like when we were having like opportunities, he would happily take opportunity for photograph and to sit and chat with you for a couple of minutes and just talk about what he'd been up to. And
Alistair said to him, "You should actually be dead right now."
We had an open answer question and answer session, and everyone was asking him like about property, not property, but investments and how to invest in this.
Was like, who cares about that when we can talk about drugs?
And I literally said, "I'm sorry, Jordan, I'm going to make this a bit personal." And I said, "Listen, man. After your lifestyle, you shouldn't be here. You should be dead." And he agreed, and he laughed it off. It was quite funny. I've got it on video. And then I said, undeniably, like he should be dead. The amount of stuff he's snorted and done everything, and just his lifestyle. He crashed a helicopter. He sunk a yacht. He wrote a lamp. Just everything into. He shouldn't be here. But and I just asked him what his lowest point was, when it was he realised that actually, shit, I need to change and I need to sort this out.
And it was actually in the film, wasn't it?
In the film.
It was the scene, if you've seen The Wolf of Wall Street, if you haven't,
watch it.
The bit where he tried to break out with his daughter.
Yeah, and he drove through the garage door.
That was the
I
bit.
thought that might have been like just for the film, but no, apparently that was a genuine scene. Did definitely happen. Very interesting guy. What did you like about him?
So, I just like his charisma. He's just very kind of infectious, kind of.
He's got that ability, and to.
Yeah, no, he was amazing. So yes, it's been a good week. Right, so pulling equity out of the house.
Yeah.
Okay, so first of all, how would someone know if they had equity in their house or not?
Well, you know how much your mortgage is, so speak to your mortgage lender and find out what your balance is. and then get a valuation done in the property.
And how would someone go about having a valuation done?
So ring an estate agent and say you're looking to sell your house. Get them to come out and value it, or you could appoint a RICS surveyor. Might cost you a few £100s, or speak to a mortgage broker and just say to them,
It's
look,
probably the easiest way.
You're thinking of remortgaging your property, and they'll send a RICS surveyor out to do the valuation, and they'll give you a figure of what they think it's worth, and then they'll give a figure of what you can withdraw from that property. Typically, it would be no more than 80%, I would have thought, depending on the. But you can get 90% on personal mortgages, but if they know you're going to be using it to invest in property, they typically don't go above 80%. And even they're a bit rarer, so it's more likely 75%. Yeah. But there is people that do 80%. And if you've got, and you just, it's not hard.
No. So basically, you just speak to a broker.
Yeah.
And you just say, hey, I'm thinking of remortgaging my house. Can you have a look at it for me? Basically, they walk you through all the steps, don't they?
Yeah, it's very simple. And a remortgage is generally quicker than a mortgage because you've already got proven history. Everything's in place. And if you keep it with the same lender, it's even quicker. So I know somebody got a remortgage in like 2.5 weeks. But then I know people where it takes months. So, but it's also good if you're at the end of your sort of fixed term, with your interest rate, it's good to shop around and get cheaper interest rates if you're on a repayment mortgage.
Yeah,
it's always good. So,
but it's worth especially if you've got a lot of properties. It's worth looking at every now and again.
Yeah,
having a quick look and go, okay, how much have they gone up? Can I pull some money out? Can I invest that money? Because it's funny, we talk about obviously return on investment a lot, but we don't really normally look at we're looking at cash flow mainly. We don't really look at the capital appreciation, and you can earn a lot of money if you've got a few properties. A lot of money from capital appreciation.
Very quickly, yeah. So, like for instance, my property in Northampton, when we moved there, because of I couldn't prove my financial accounts because one of the business was less than a year old, so I didn't have a full year accounts. I had to pay a slightly higher interest rate, which was fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But as soon as we got to the end of the 2 years, I refinanced that, and I saved like £300 a month on my mortgage. And we still pulled some money out. So like you got to weigh the odds up. If you've got equity in your property and you can refinance it, and let's just say it puts your mortgage payments up, because typically it will. Let's just say it puts your mortgage payments up by, I don't know, £300 a month. But then you can pull out 30 grand. You can then invest that 30 grand into another property, which will give you that £300 extra a month. So you're and some, yeah. So at the minute, let's just say you break even, but now you have another asset that's increasing in value. So then in 2 years' time, you can do that with that asset, and then before you know it, you've got all these assets that are all increasing in value. And I would far rather have assets than the cash, because what a lot of people tend to do is they tend to remortgage.
Spend it.
So and it was a thing, wasn't it, in the noughties, 2000s, that people were refinancing every couple of years just to pay off the debt. So they would accrue debt over a period of a couple of years, then they would refinance to pay that debt off, and then they would just start again. And that seems like stupid. Just live within your means. It does. It seems daft, doesn't it? And then they were using it for holidays, and yeah. But I think if you use it wisely,
in one way it's stupid, but at least they're paying off their debt, because you are earning the capital appreciation, aren't you? So yeah, it's not the smartest use of the money, but they're still making the most of the fact that they've got a property that's going up in value.
Of course they are, yeah, but they'd be better to use that equity wisely as opposed to non-wisely, if that's a word.
Can we have that as a quote? Alistair Cunningham, you'd be better off using your equity wisely rather than unwisely.
No, non-wisely.
You'd be better to use your equity wisely rather than non-wisely.
I wonder if that's going to be like a Winston Churchill quote in 100 years. Alistair Cunningham,
very much
use your equity wisely, not unwisely. Or not non-wisely.
Not only.
Can't even remember it.
Not only does it not quite make sense, and it's not even a word, but it's also like the stupidest...
No, it's not. It's brilliant. Listen, just use your equity properly.
Do you reckon it's one of those sort of sayings where...
Sounds like a Ricky Gervais saying.
I think if someone like Robert Kiyosaki said it, everyone would be like, ooh, profound.
Yeah. They'd be like, inspired. Me, they're just idiot.
Someone was saying, do you know, T. Harv Eker got his book. You were there actually, but I'll just tell you it was quite funny anyway. T. Harv Eker got his book to the New York Times #1 bestseller.
Yeah, okay.
And he was saying, do you know how hard it is to get your book to the #1 New York New York Times bestseller when your name is just T. Harv Eker? Like, it's almost impossible. Your book has got to be flipping amazing because you're a nobody.
Yeah.
Ish, obviously some of you would have probably heard of him, but in comparison terms, you're a nobody. He's like, if you're Oprah Winfrey, you don't have to do anything, and it's going to be New York Times bestseller. You could literally release a book, the pages were completely blank, and people would be looking at it going, wow, that is so deep.
Yeah.
She's proving that the purpose of life is nothing or something.
That was quite funny, wasn't it?
Yeah. So unfortunately, my friend, you are not at the level quite yet.
I know that.
Where you can say you're better to be wise than non-wise, and people are going to be like, "Ooh, deep." Maybe they are. If you think it's deep, just comment below deep. If you think it's full of hot air, just put hot air.
Oh, that's better than what you normally say, so that's good. I'm good with that.
Let's see how many deeps.
So, have you refinanced any properties?
I have.
Cool. How often? Every couple of years? Every 3 years? 4 years?
It depends. I haven't refinanced a property more than once.
Okay. I do think it's you've got to be careful not to. We were talking about this in the last show about leverage, not to be over leveraged. So. I would only refinance if you've got a use for that money, or if it's going to save you money on like interest rates and things like that. If you're on a repayment, but I wouldn't do it just for the sake of doing it. And you've got to have a plan for that money. But it's definitely a great way to grow a property business.
Yeah.
Using none of your own money essentially, because it's just money
it's
and
your
assets.
own money, but it's like
but it's not cash in the bank, is it?
No,
it's money in an asset that you're releasing to create another asset.
Yeah,
and
that is the beauty of, and it takes time, but that's the beauty of property investing.
I think so.
You don't need to have loads of, as long as you get started, and and it's all about momentum, isn't it? It's just like it will slowly as you, if you have one and you remortgage it and get another one, and then 5 years later you remortgage both of them, and buy another two, and then it's just going bigger and bigger and bigger, and it just takes time. It takes time, but that's why we always say get started now. Yeah. Because the sooner you get started, the sooner that it starts.
Sorry to interrupt you and cut you off there.
That's okay. Someone moaned about you doing that to me.
Did they?
Yeah.
Sorry.
They said I did it to you as well. In fairness, they were like, you both of you just cut each other off continually.
Do we?
I don't agree. But let's see. Let's not look out for it.
Okay.
Go on. You say your point.
Okay.
Whenever you're ready.
I've kind of forgotten now.
Well, it's because you cut me off.
No, it's because you had that waffle.
I had a waffle about cutting each other. About that, you cut me off, and then I waffled about me cutting you off.
I've lost it now.
You've just lost it. What were we even talking about?
Yeah. Didn't Samuel say?
Good job, Nick's here.
A few weeks ago.
Because otherwise he'd have forgotten.
About the time is like people moaning about. Oh yeah, it's too good. It was back then.
Those were the days.
That's it. Those were the days. It was back then that the times were good. But in 20 years, in 20 years' time, the kids are 20, like, them will be saying, oh, those were the days for now.
Yeah, like, I look back at my grandparents and saw that they bought a house for, like, $1,000. And I'm like, what?
I'd buy
$1,000?
20.
Yeah.
20 cash, just have it. Right, but now...
Houses for $1,000. Mind you, they are in Detroit.
That's true. And in Philadelphia.
Yeah, maybe we should just go somewhere, like, horrible in America. Buy like a whole street, gate it, and turn it into a private gated
hood.
Yeah, it's going to still be a hood, but turn it into a private gated hood.
Do
it up. The houses were quite nice.
Houses were big. Houses are big in America. Like a 3-bed up, a 3-bed sort of a 2-floor house. It's like the big rooms. It's huge. Lots of space.
We could probably buy the whole of Detroit.
Maybe not, but
I bet there's villages we could buy, and so I bet there's areas.
There probably is.
You could buy the entire
when I was in America with Samuel, we were like in places like back end of Philadelphia, New Jersey, like one place in particular was Camden. You can buy a house for $16,000, $16K, and that's dollars as well. It's not even pounds. So that's like, what's that? Like
£12,000,
£12,000, something like that. Buy a house.
Would you want to live there?
No. Absolutely not. But you could buy a house for $12,000. And yeah, but again, people saying all the time, it was good back in the days. you just got to do it, and you got to do it now. Forget back in the days. Forget next month. Just do it. Just whatever you're doing, just do it now, and stop worrying about what it was like 10 years ago or what it might be like in 10 years' time. Because by the time 10 years' time come, you'll be like, I should have done that because back in 10 years ago it was good. But just get involved.
Well, the only moment that you ever have is now.
Yep.
This is it.
Present.
So
we've been doing a lot. We've been doing a lot of like mind stuff recently, and it talks a lot about being present and being in the present and not worrying about what happens in the future or in the past. So yeah, just be present and just deal with whatever you're dealing with now.
Yeah.
Maybe that can be my saying. Just deal with whatever you're dealing with now.
That's a better saying than
It's
non-wise.
better saying.
Rather than, it's best not to be non-wise.
Right, okay. So
if you so basically, cut a long story short on equity, check by just speaking to a mortgage broker. Just ring them up and say, this is the house, will I be able to remortgage it? I've done that loads and they've just gone, no. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, I bought the house for this. It's like 5 years. That first house that I always seem to get asked about. It was your first house. I don't know why, but I was trying to remortgage that for years. About every year, I'd ring them up and go, has it gone up yet? And they'd be like, no. Oh. Has it gone up yet? No. And then, has it gone up? It's actually gone a bit down. I was like, oh, this is so depressing. Because I was planning on, and then eventually, it went up about 25 grand, but it was like, it took
I'll have
forever.
to look because I know we've me and Lisa have got like a lot of equity in our house because it's gone up considerably in the last sort of two and a half years, and we refinanced it after we moved in to get a better rate, but we didn't take any money out. We just went into a better rate. But I know we've got a chunk of equity in there.
There you go.
Yeah,
It's you want to though, don't you?
I want to.
It's Lisa that's not keen.
It's Lisa that's not keen just because it's our family home. But you got to. I'll just get a new wife. I'll just get a new wife.
Just get a new wife. That's probably easier.
So when we get, no, when she
She's
kicks,
worried now.
When she kicks
Mate,
me out,
she never
we can
watches-
sell it.
She never watches this show. You can say what you want.
No, I wouldn't say that. No. Because it's my wife's family home. We just want to look after it. And make sure
It's
that
your wife's family. Was it passed down?
my family. No, it's our family home.
She does realise, by the way, just so you're all aware, once you remortgage a property, you can still live in it.
Yeah, yes, I know, but it's
Still your family home. Is that clear?
Yeah, no, I know that. But
Okay. Do you know what you need to do? Do you know how you win her over?
How?
Say to her, hey, listen.
so this is good tips for if you've got a partner. If your
Who doesn't
partner
want to remortgage it?
is they don't want to remortgage because of they might feel it's a little bit risky or something like that.
She said, look, we're going to remortgage the house. How much will you be able to pull out, buddy? Roughly.
6 figures.
Okay. So you say, look, I'm going to invest some of it in property, which will create more money for us, but I'm also going to buy you a holiday home in Spain.
Okay. Yeah, she would go for that.
Suddenly, the family home thing, not so much of an issue.
Yeah, that's true.
You can rent it out
Yeah, that's
throughout the
absolutely
year
true.
and then stay in it whenever you want.
Yeah, that's very, very true.
You just got to be wise, man. You got to think about what you're going to do with the money. You
No,
might
in
not need to go
fairness-
that big. You might be like, I'll buy you a Louis Vuitton handbag.
Yeah.
Deal or no deal.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
In fairness, Lisa's all up for the risk, but we've just not needed to. We've not needed to because we've...
Just rubbing it in now. Yeah, I got 6 figures. Don't need it.
No, it's not that. It's just we've not had a... We've not...
It is that.
No,
isn't it,
it's
though?
not. It's just we've not had a need... We've not had a
Just
property...
buying property anyway.
We've not had a deal come up that we've not been able to finance externally. So we've not needed to because...
Yeah.
So do you know what I mean? It's not...
I know what
it's
you
not
mean.
been a
I know what you
necessity.
mean. All right, it's now time for this. So in the news this week, another article from The Guardian.
Oh, it's been popular the last few weeks.
So this is called Ethical Money Property. Is this an ethical alternative to buy-to-let? Ooh. Well, number one, right, I don't even have to read the article. Number one, that to me sounds like it's suggesting buy-to-let is unethical.
Mm-hmm.
Just already got my back up a little bit, but whatever, we'll see.
But it's media, isn't it?
So it's described as an ethical alternative to buy-to-let aimed at those who, basically, if you want to invest in property, but you think being a landlord is greedy and bad, but you still want to invest in property and make a bit of money, and you don't want any of the risks, to go with, you know, having to kick out a tenant or voids. You don't want any risks. You can lend your money to these guys. It's called REAP. It stands for Real Estate Annuity Plan.
Okay.
And it allows people to lend money to the social enterprise. And what they do is they provide affordable rented homes for people in housing need, including those at risk of homelessness.
Okay.
And as an investor, you get 3% interest a year. But it's, you know,
safe and secure.
totally safe. Yeah.
3%'s not brilliant, but it's not bad.
So you haven't got any of the responsibilities or inconveniences of being a landlord, such as finding tenants, checking references, dealing with a broken boiler.
I'm sorry, I can't get on with this, man. 3%. I said that's rubbish. Why would anyone do that?
Well,
so you put 100 grand into it to make 3 grand a year. It's absolutely ridiculous.
If you had $1 million,
yeah,
how much would you make then? 3%, 30 grand.
30,000.
That's an average salary. Average UK.
Yeah, but you've got to risk $1 million to make 30 grand. You've got no answer, have you?
Right.
Would you do it?
Would I do it?
Yeah. Would you put £1 million of your cash into that?
To make 30 grand a year?
Yeah.
No.
I cannot see anybody getting excited about that.
But it's like property. Listen. The higher the risk, the greater the reward.
Yeah.
With this, there's very little risk.
There is risk. Of course, there's risk.
There's very little risk.
No, there's risk. You're giving your money to somebody else. What if that bond, that cover, whatever, is it a company? So so how is it governed? What if they go bankrupt? What if so it's massive risk. You're you're putting your money in somebody else's hands to invest for you. So it's more risky than investing it in property yourself. I know it's hassle free, but no, I think that's just a waste.
And then the other thing is
a news space.
It's a waste of a news space.
Whoever wrote that article in the Guardian, just like find something better to write about, man.
Do you want me to tell you who it is? It's
no point.
Rupert Jones.
Who's he? Bet he ain't got a podcast.
I bet he has.
I bet he has, actually. No, I don't care, but I just think it's I think it's a bit.
You think it's stupid?
No, not stupid. I mean,
Listen,
I'm sure there's people that are happy with 3%.
High risk, high reward. With this, there's very little risk. In all fairness, there's also very little reward. But is it better than leaving your money in the bank?
Yes.
And you know, we're not dissing that, are we?
No. So okay, fine. It is good if you're just sitting on millions and millions of pounds and you just want to earn a little bit, then fine, do that. But
if you had,
it's not for me. It's just
3
boring.
million in the bank.
Yeah.
So.
How long's your money got to be tied up in it, though? So that's the thing. That's another thing. But we've discussed on this show before, very early on, Nick. Maybe you can find that episode and stick a link somewhere. There was a company where you could put money into it and they were guaranteeing 7%. I'm sure there was. It was.
Yeah, they do mention that in this Echo fund.
It was some sort of fund that you could put the money into. We discussed it now. It was very early on.
7% is more tempting if
Yeah,
you haven't got to do
it is,
anything. You're 7%.
3% is just boring, isn't it? It's not even like, it's like 3%.
It is very low.
It's like, factor in inflation and all that sort of stuff. It's just it's not worth it.
No. Although it probably. Oh yeah, no, it's really not. Is it? It's really not. But
should we just move on?
If you are very scared about investing in property, you might find. Do you know what it does do? It highlights how good property investing actually is.
Absolutely.
So you know, for all you watching this, I'm sure you want to invest in property. Don't do REAP.
No, I wouldn't.
You know, it's a waste of time. Just buy a property and make 20% plus your capital appreciation, 40%, 50%, 100%. That'd be a lot.
Just invest in property.
Yeah. Anyway, it's now time for questions and answers. Okay, so first question. I like this question. It's about cars.
Hey! My new car's getting ordered today.
Is it? Today?
Hopefully. Just waiting for the phone call back to say that they've got it because it's in stock.
You're going Cayman, aren't you?
Yeah.
Grey Cayman.
Yeah.
Just to ruin it for anyone, so that he can't show it off and go, hey, look. Oh, yeah, we know it's a grey Cayman
with black wheels.
What?
The black wheels. Anyway.
Black wheels. Okay. What's the cheapest way to finance a car apart from buying for cash, in your opinion?
Why would you buy for cash? I don't understand.
Well, he's basically saying he doesn't want to buy for cash.
Good.
He wants to finance it. How would I think he was scared that we would go just buy it for cash.
Nah, we wouldn't.
Apart from, how would it affect your ability to get a mortgage in the future?
Well, okay. So obviously, car finance will appear in your credit check on your credit report.
Does that sound like you?
Okay. Apparently, Charlotte watches this. Charlotte, one of the academy members, right? She picked that up. You know, when I say okay, it sounds like okay. And I spoke on stage, and she was in the audience, and she started laughing, and it put me right off when I said okay.
It's like okay.
Okay. Right. Okay. So back to car finance.
Okay. Time for the okay.
Okay. Back to the car finance. Right. Obviously, when you have any finance in your name, it'll appear in your credit report. That will be seen by the lenders when they do a credit search. I don't speak to a mortgage broker. As long as you've got credit.
About getting car finance?
No. About it affecting his mortgage ability. So speak to a broker. I mean,
I don't think it affects it really.
I don't think it affects it as long as you're up to date. Yeah. So if you're in arrears, then obviously it's going to affect it. But keep up to date. As long as you're not over leveraged on anything like that, then you'll be fine.
Okay, the best way, in my opinion, to the cheapest way, anyway, is that what you asked? Cheapest, yeah. The cheapest way is to lease.
Yeah.
And the best website I have found, now, I haven't actually used this website, but I have recommended it to other people who have. So my sister has used it, my mom has used it, for example. Mm-hmm. But the best website is a website called leasing.com. And they're basically like a comparison website. And they just seem to have cheaper deals than anywhere else I can find.
Yeah, I think so.
So I got suckered into... Right, so what I actually did was I went on leasing.com. My sister recommended it to my sister, my mom, and everything. Then, when I wanted a car, I went to the garage. And while I was at the garage, I got sold on the idea.
So you went in and you went, I'm not going to buy a car. And the salesman come along and you went, oh, okay.
I love that one. I went in and I was like, I'm going to test drive. And then once I picked the one...
you're one of them. You're using them to test drive. And then you're going to say, oh, thanks very much. And then going to order it online.
Yeah. That's exactly what I was doing. That was my plan. But what actually happened is, and I even said that to them. I was up front. I was like, listen, I'm probably not going to buy because I think I can get it cheaper online.
Yeah.
I was totally up front. And he sort of said to me, yeah, you're right. It is a bit cheaper online. Mm. But you get me with this. And he's like, and I'm here if you need me. And you can bring the car back in and we'll order it. And I looked at it and I was like, yeah, it's only like 50 quid a month more. Yeah. And I get to get it now, so I got stuck in it. And then I was sitting back and I was like, man, that's 50. That's over 4 years, 50 quid a month. I'm like, I have literally just agreed to pay 50 times 12 times 4, 2.5 grand to order it off this guy now, and it kind of peed me off. But then I did it again. I went back in when I went back in at the end of the agreement and bought off him again. Oh my God!
Listen, guys, it's maybe okay to do it once, but like when you don't learn from your mistakes and you go back and you're like,
but I'm not sure it is a mistake.
Sell me.
I'm not sure it is a mistake.
It's not. I'm winding you up. I actually think you've done the right thing because one, you're keeping the guy. You're supporting a local business, which is always good. It's not always about saving a couple of quid, man. It's not.
But the cheapest way you can do it, leasing.com. There you go.
Oh, I was going into a bit of a heartfelt moment.
Go on, let's hear your heart. Let's hear your heart. Sorry, I'm sorry. I cut you off again, like the guy says that we always do.
Right, okay. So, next question is from Gabriel Chung on the YouTube channel. So, do you think it's better to have a separate SPV to hold each investment property or to use one SPV to hold all investment properties? Is there a mortgage impact? I personally have all my properties in one SPV. I know there is people that have individual companies set up for each property. You'd have to speak to a mortgage broker with regards to that. I don't know.
I'd speak to your accountant.
If you've
got a property tax accountant and just say, look, this is what I want to buy.
Yeah.
You just tell me the best way of doing it.
Yeah, I agree. That's pretty simple. Another question from KNTX on YouTube. How do I get on the eviction? Do you guys want a young American already successful from the insurance industry schooling some British in their own pond with home field advantage? Not to mention you're pretty easy on the eyes. That all depends, my friend.
Schooling the British in their
the problem is, buddy. The problem is, like, see, when you work with us, We rely on a little thing called being humble. Yeah.
Come on,
leave it at that.
he's fine. We like a bit of confidence.
We don't even know if it's a boy or a girl. I mean,
Oh.
however, if it's a young lady who's
He's just a young American.
this says young American. So if it's a young American lady, send us a picture. We'll have a look.
No, I think it's a guy.
I'm kidding.
And
I think it sounds like a guy.
I think
Girls aren't so
I like the
obnoxious.
idea. If we do, I mean, this eviction, it's too late. It's already done. But next time we'll advertise. I like. Well, although it'll be, I don't know. We'll know. I don't know.
I think it's for UK only.
Not UK only.
I'd love to see an American come over
for
here
Academy
and try.
members only, isn't it? Join the Academy, and then we'll get you in.
Yeah.
Awesome. Right, next question. Let me find one. All right, here you go. Interesting question. I haven't actually thought this question. I've just quickly scanned it now. I don't know the answer off the top of my head, but I'm interested to see if you do.
Okay.
So, hello, Russell Alastair. Are there any strategies related to property investing, be it investments, JVs, flipping, etc.? Because they all seem to involve interest payments.
Okay.
Are there any that do not involve interest payments? That is to say, not paying or receiving any interest. I'm assuming, and this is from Callan O'Hara. So, hey, Callan, thanks for the question. Callan. Or was it Callan? Callan. I'm assuming it's a religious thing?
Yeah, I mean, I deal with a lot of investors, and yeah, I think it's mainly a religious thing. They don't like paying interest, or it's part of it's a.
Is there any interest? Rent to rent? There's no interest.
There's no rent to rent.
Because you're paying a rent, a set fee, no interest. You're receiving a set fee, so there'd be no interest on that.
There is lots of companies out there, for instance, that do like Muslim mortgages, and do religious mortgages, that are non-interest bearing. So there is a lot of help out there for it. Just Google it.
How does that work?
I don't know. I don't know the exact I think they have a charge at the front, but you don't actually pay interest. I don't know. I honestly don't know. So I would Google like non-interest bearing mortgages. I know I've got several sort of Muslim investors that use them quite successfully. So I think there is a business out there for it, and there is a call for it. There's a massive call for it. So
Awesome stuff. So, are there any that just don't use interest? Like, so for example, other than rent to rent, can you think of anything that just doesn't have any interest?
If you're using a lease option, for instance, if you get a secure lease option on a property, you're just paying a monthly lease premium. There's no interest on that, is there? Obviously, when it comes to buying it, you might have to pay interest because you need a mortgage.
Yeah, you'd need to buy it for cash.
Yeah, buy it for cash. Yeah.
Or get this mortgage that you talked about. But yeah, go have a look at mortgages.
We have one more question on here before we.
And then I've got one more, so one each.
Okay, so Subomi, great show, thanks, man. If you had £300,000 to invest, what would you do with the money? He's 17-year-old, made his money from the gas and oil markets. 300k, 17-year-old, just get investing in property, man. Get putting some of that money into deposits, get buying some houses.
Awesome. Right, I've got two, but one of them we've already answered, kind of. Hi, guys. This is from CJ Bree. Hi, guys. Great show. Can you run through the refinancing process? Yes, we can. Rewind the episode. Listen to it again. Awesome. Last question. This is from Bartlow.
So look. We
wants
to
Bartlow.
This guy log.
He wants Bartlow. He said Bart or Bartlow is fine. I remember he commented, but on YouTube, but Bartlow is his preferred.
He's asked a few questions. I've spoken to this guy several times. He wants to join the academy, so man.
Awesome, man. Awesome. So Bartlow. Hi guys. Hopefully this one will be a challenging one. Thanks, Bartlow. After we made so much effort on your name, and then you give us tough questions.
What's his name? Should we just make his? No, go.
Seller has put on the market, owned by him, Old Bakery, which is a commercial/residential property. After discussions, he also admitted the next door property, which is also his, would be saleable. There is no plan permission in place yet for any development. The property is not mortgageable, though. Residential mortgage. The property is not mortgageable through residential mortgage, but commercial would be an option for the Old Bakery property. What would be your list of actions to acquire both buildings? The investor from London is ready to put the money down. The catch: agency claim the owner will not be waiting for completing the purchase until we get the planning permission in place.
So have you finished?
Yeah.
That's such a long question. Basically, he wants to buy a bakery, and he can't get normal lending. He's got to get a commercial mortgage.
Yeah.
But the lender won't agree to anything until he's got planning permission. But that just seems backwards. Why would you?
Why would the owner care if they're planning permission?
I don't know. Bart, can you make that question a little bit more direct? We don't really know what you want. What do you want the outcome to be?
What I would do, Bartlett, is I would go and speak to a mortgage broker, commercial mortgage broker, explain the situation to them, see what the situation is. You can find someone like Regent's Court Financial, for example. They will look at both commercial and residential. So get them to go and have a look at it, see what they could do. I don't know what about the planning.
It seems that the vendor's been awkward, saying we're not going to do anything until you've got planning approved. Maybe that's because somebody else has previously said they would buy it and then pulled out at a later stage because they couldn't get planning.
Maybe.
So that might be why. So you need to ask the vendor what they really want.
And just go and speak to a mortgage broker and find out see if you can get something that works for you. That's what will be my first step. And then come back to us next week once you've done that if there's any further questions.
Yeah, man.
Great. Awesome. Listen, thank you ever so much for watching the show. Hope you enjoyed it. Do not forget, we'll be back next Saturday at 7 p.m. Do not forget to tune in, hit subscribe, and we will see you next week.
See you later, guys.